Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way now to 10,900 subscribers. And if you could click like on the video and on the live stream, I would be incredibly grateful. Get those likes rolling in now. Get them in early doors whilst I'm waffling at the start of the video, and I'll be happy. There's lots to talk about today. It's a Sunday evening, so obviously it's not a crazy amount of news. But there are things to talk about, especially about Emile Smith Rowe, his future at the club, a Barcelona Wonderkid that was briefly mentioned yesterday, an update on Sesko, a little update on Osimhen as well, and of course, guess the Gooner and guess the non-Gooner later on. It's the end of the weekend. I appreciate that plenty of you are already in here. We love to see it. Pekka, Icarus, Junior Films, Gabe, Tom, Jakob, MCW, Emilio, Smalt, Inkmaster, Ethan Udall, Vincent, Justin, Jax Hacks, Anubrata, Emil, Philip, Lord Ferguson, Carter, Bordsey, Leo, Ryan Henderson, Nathan, Lukey, Charles, Jose, and many, many more. It is fantastic to see you. Why do I never get the intro? Always starts 5 seconds late. Don't even get ads. I don't know, Kinkai, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. First time I've caught a stream on time. I usually watch the replay. As always, MC, I appreciate you being here. And if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you as well. It really does mean a lot. Ross Lawman's in the building as well. Jonathan. Jonathan is a new member to the channel. What a start to the stream. Jonathan, thank you very, very much for the support and welcome to the Rory Talks Football community. What a great way to start the show. That's, again, terrible. Absolutely terrible. You've got to wake up so much earlier. So much. You needed to wake up yesterday to catch me out. That's a terrible effort. Did you catch the AMP Beta Squad charity match? I saw some of the highlights on Twitter, yes. Unfortunately, once again, kids ruined it. Or not even kids. Half of them aren't even kids. These are like teenagers, young adults that can't control themselves. 6-6 in the 91st minute. Everyone looking forward to penalties, and they decided to invade the pitch. So the game had to be abandoned. And this happens almost every big charity match, whether it's the Sidemen, whether it's whatever. These idiots always ruin it. But United trade masterclass in goal. Mark Goldbridge not stripping off. That would have been heritage. That would have been heritage if Mark Goldbridge is stripped off. No, he went from managing, stormed down the tunnel, and came back out in a full kit and played. The guy in the thumbnail is the guy I mentioned yesterday who you thought was a bait. Now, I know. I realized that afterwards. Did a bit of research. And why not? We'll start there. This Barcelona Wonderkid. Who is he? Why are we linked to him? Well, it's coming from Simon Jones in the Mail, which isn't a terrible source. Arsenal have inquired about Barcelona defender Mikhail. Is it Mikhail? I think it's Mikhail Faye, Faye. Barcelona need to sell this summer, and whilst they believe that the 19-year-old does have a big future at the club, they also recognise that his sale for around £17 million could be worthwhile. Obviously, as an academy player, that's the sort of raw profit angle, and so they might be looking to sell him. And Arsenal are one of the clubs that are interested. Now, in terms of the player himself, I know very little about him. There is very little to go off online. I mean, this is what FOTMob have about him. He's a left-footed Senegalese 19-year-old. Doesn't even have his height. Doesn't tell you really where he plays other than the fact he's a defender. He's got 4 goals and 2 red cards at some point, but I'm not really sure when. And there's no player stats available. So he was at this team, NK, not sure how to pronounce that, Custosia. Joined Barca in July of last year, basically last summer, and they might now flip him. So there you go. That's the player. I'm sure you can probably find better stats about him somewhere, but I've not been able to do that. So yeah, interesting one. We'll keep an eye on it. He has a bronze card on FIFA. There you go. Yeah, that is a true point. The last young talent they needed to sell led Spurs to signing Emerson Royale for 25 million. Hopefully he's not another Emerson Royale. I've seen him a few times. He's really good. There you go. We've got Red Hair's word. There you go. Talent, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thoughts on Tosin going to Chelsea on a free? I think it's decent business for them. Yeah, he's not going to set the world on fire. He's at this point, he's nearly 27. He's a decent defender. It's squad depth for them, and it's free. You know, it's one of those. If they need to sell, why not get Pedri or De Jong? Well, apparently Hansi Flick's three main players, what Hansi Flick believes are the core of his team, Ronald Araujo, De Jong, and Pedri. So it sounds like those three, who were all potentially available, they might be staying where they are. ESR, for his own sake, should leave. Should leave Arsenal. Fulham would be great. I think he'd fit. Should get plenty of starts. Stays in London. Yeah, look, we'll move on. We'll move on to the Smith Rowe news. So this is coming from Mike McGrath in the Telegraph. Again, a decent source, in fairness. Fulham have made Emile Smith Rowe one of their top priority summer transfer targets and are ready to bid for the player early in the window. A sale would represent pure profit for Arsenal from a profit and sustainability perspective. I can see this happening. There was some speculation on Twitter today. Can't remember who said it. It wasn't like a legitimate source. That Fabio Vieira is set to stay at Arsenal this summer. That Mikel Arteta doesn't believe selling him now is the right time to sell him effectively. He still believes he can offer a lot more. So, look, I've been saying for a while, I think, Fabio Vieira and Emile Smith Rowe, one of them goes this summer. They take up the same spot on the bench, especially if we want to bring Ethan Nwaneri through and give him any sort of minutes next season. I would imagine those minutes would have to be taken from either Smith Rowe or Fabio Vieira. And so one of them goes. And the reality is Emile Smith Rowe generates a lot more money. Emile Smith Rowe probably gets sold for more than Fabio Vieira would anyway, but he's pure profit. If we sell Fabio Vieira, we're probably selling him at a loss. I can't imagine we would get more than 35 million for Fabio Vieira if we sold him now. And so the reality is, as tough as it is, because I think we all love Smith Rowe, I think the reality is that he goes this summer. We take the profit. Maybe we live to regret it. Maybe we don't. I think Fulham, look, if you ask me, I'd far rather see him go to Fulham than Villa or Newcastle or Chelsea. So it's not a bad club for him to go to. He'll definitely start at Fulham. And, I had people arguing with me a bit on Twitter today saying that, he's too good and he's too good. We can't afford him. We need him. And it's like, it's difficult to justify it. It's difficult to, let's say for argument's sake, we sell him for 30 million. That's 30 million of raw profit that can go elsewhere on the squad. It's difficult to justify not doing that if the offer is there. Now, if the offer comes in and it's like 15 million, then I'd probably turn around and say no. But in Emile Smith Rowe, we're talking about a guy who made 3 starts last season, right? He played about 350 minutes, I think. He's not scored a goal in over 2 years. The last goal he scored for Arsenal was against Chelsea in April 2022. That's 2 years and 2 months ago since his last goal. You can't tell me that it's worth 30 odd million to keep him at the club. When he doesn't start, he's not going to start realistically. And you've got Fabio Vieira and Nwaneri coming through as well. Like, it's brutal. I think he's been incredibly unlucky. I think injuries just hit him at the complete wrong times. Every single time he looked like he was getting back up to speed, back up to pace. He got another injury. It's tough, but that's the way that football careers can go sometimes. And I think, hand on heart, if Emile Smith Rowe wasn't Emile Smith Rowe, as in if Emile Smith Rowe was a player that we signed 2 years ago, or imagine Emile Smith Rowe, instead of being a player that Unai Emery brought through the academy and gave a chance to, imagine it was just a player that Unai Emery had signed. And we'd got out of that player what we've got out of Emile Smith Rowe over the last few years, and we had an offer of 30 odd million for him. I think we'd all be saying you have to take it. And so, I get the sentimentality and the fact that him and Saka were the shining light at one point for us. But business is business. Business is business. And I think it just makes more sense to sell him if the offer is there. I have to stress, If the offer isn't there, if the offer is 15 million or something stupid, then you've got to rethink it. But I think the best team for him to go to would be Palace. Imagine Wharton as a Smith Rowe in midfield, Elise and Bellingham and Mateta in attack. That would be exciting. I mean, you're right. That would be incredibly exciting. I think the reality is that Palace won't keep all of those players. What you could see potentially would be Smith Rowe moving to Palace to replace Eze. Like if Eze moves this summer, you could see him moving there. So it does free up the tension. I don't think it'll go to Trossard. I think it'll go to a new signing, or it could go to Ødegaard. Maybe. I don't know. And 8 goes to someone else. I think we spoke about that before. I think Ødegaard could take 10. Someone else takes 8. Yeah, Eze and Smith Rowe in the same team wouldn't work. The only way it would really work would be if Smith Rowe just went and played off the left, or Eze went and played off the left. Johan Bakayoko looks quality. He does. Bakayoko is high on my list of potential replacements. Not replacements, backups. For Bukayo Saka. With West Ham, Brentford, Ipswich, Fulham, the more teams involved, the likelier a bidding war can happen. I agree. Look, I do think he should go for about 30 million. I think that's probably the figure that we're looking at. Whereas realistically, if Fabio Vieira went, like I said, what would you get for Fabio Vieira? 20 at a push probably, and it wouldn't be profit. So it's probably not worth it. Are you watching Obi? Well, not right now, no. Chido Obi Martin's playing tonight for Denmark under-17s against Italy under-17s. Semi-final of the Euros, so we'll keep an eye on him. Do you think we were playing ESR more towards the end of the season to boost his transfer value? Yeah, I do. I think that was the reason that he was getting played over Fabio Vieira. For me, that would make sense. A lot of people actually thought that maybe we were playing Smith Rowe because we were going to keep him and move Vieira on. I actually think it's more likely the other way around. I think it's more likely Arteta didn't need to put Fabio Vieira in the shop window because he had no intention of selling him, but he needed to put Smith Rowe in the shop window. Ødegaard uses 10 for Norway, so that's his preferred number. Yeah, maybe he changes then. Apparently, AC Milan wants Ramsdale. Have you heard anything? Have I heard anything about that? AC Milan want Kivior. I haven't heard anything about them wanting Ramsdale. We spoke yesterday about Kivior being a big target for AC Milan, but I don't know. Well, about the thing is, actually, that kind of makes sense, maybe, because I did see today that Man City are potentially lining up Mike Maignan, the Milan goalkeeper, as a replacement for Ederson, with Ederson being linked to Saudi. So yeah, maybe that could be a little series of dominoes that falls. I also saw Chelsea. Remember the other night we were talking about the Las Palmas goalkeeper, Valle. Obviously now Chelsea are interested in him. Pretty sure Todd Bowley watches the streams. But no, apparently they were again going in for a goalkeeper. There is no position at Chelsea that is safe. There is no position at Chelsea that is safe from them just going out and buying more players for that position. Milan can't afford Ramsdale. They could if they sold Maignan. He's broken his fingers 6 times. Yeah, he's made of glass. Yeah, it's Sportcat. Sportcat sits in here and feeds the information back to Todd Bowley. It must be. AFC Max might be Todd Bowley. Yeah, that's another option. That is another option. Pekka, no worries. Good to see you. We've talked about Smith Rowe being a big target for Fulham this summer, and Arsenal inquiring about Barcelona defender Mikhail Faye, who's a bit of a wonderkid for them. So, yeah, they'll need a replacement goalkeeper. So Ramsdale, Ramsdale will be one of, if not the highest level goalkeeper available this summer, if you're looking to replace someone like Maignan. Chelsea want a goalkeeper who works better with Enzo Maresca, i.e. a keeper who can act as a centre-back with his feet. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what we said about Valles. That's what we said about him. He's the number 1 sweeper keeper in the top 5 leagues in Europe. What does this mean for Jesus? I don't think it means anything for Jesus. I think Jesus will be sold if an offer comes in for him. If not, he just becomes a versatile backup option across the whole of the front three. That Jesus is probably the one player, even ahead of Trossard, I would say. I wouldn't start him ahead of Trossard. That's not what I'm saying. But Jesus is the one player that you can bring him on the left, on the right, or through the middle, and he'd be fine. So he may stay in the squad as that. I think he'll be sold next summer, if not this summer. But out of Sesko, Xerxes, and Osimhen, who is the most and least likely for Arsenal? I think Sesko's most likely. I think Xerxes is second most likely, and I think Osimhen's third most likely. And the reason for that is I just don't think that Arsenal would spend the money on Osimhen. Xerxes, I do think, might actually end up back at Bayern Munich, but we'll see. We should put buyback or sell on percentage for selling Smith Rowe and Rambo, Nelson and Eddie, etc. It's difficult, though. If you put in a sell on clause, you don't get as much money now. That's kind of how it works. So it might be that we just try and get the money now. I don't know. We'll see. Rohit, a member for a month. Unbelievable. Rohit, thank you very much for continuing with your membership. Unbelievable support. Hi, Rory. What are your favourite footy stadiums that you've been to aside from the Emirates? Anfield has to be up there, honestly. I actually sat with the Liverpool fans at Anfield. It wasn't an Arsenal game, but that was pretty good. Where else? I don't know. Edgar Street, the home of Hereford FC. That's a fucking stadium, that is. That's proper. That's proper. No seats. You don't sit down on the terrace. That's proper. But no, outside of the Emirates, nothing compares. Nothing compares. Sesko linking players, very average. By the way, Rohit, thank you very, very much, though, for the membership. Unbelievable. Let's hit the 100 likes target. Yeah, come on. Get it up to 100 likes. Thank you very much. If you could just take uno minuto to get it to 100 likes, I'd be very grateful. What's your opinion on the Sesko signing if it happens? Look, I think it's a good signing. I think there are signings that I'd prefer. I prefer Victor Gyökeres, but Sesko would make for a good signing. He's got an incredibly high ceiling, I think. I would certainly be starting Kai Havertz up top at the start of next season if Sesko was the player that we brought in. I wouldn't be starting Sesko at the start of next season. But no, I'd be happy to see it. Gyökeres might sign for Spurs. I'm scared. Look at the rumors. I don't want to look at it. I'm not having it. It would pain me. It would pain me. My favorite stadium is the gravel pitch next to my parents' house. That's proper. Do you think with all these AC Milan links, we look to bring in Leao? It's not something I've thought about. I don't think we are looking to bring in Leao. We've never really been linked to him. Maybe. I don't know. I don't rate Leao. I'll be straight up. I don't rate Rafa Leao. I think in moments, he looks brilliant. I think over the course of a season, he'd wind me up. I think over the course of a season, he just tries too much, too often. And I think he'd wind me up. Gyökeres isn't getting any proper offers as of the Portuguese press. Interesting. Maybe his price comes down over the summer. We'll see. Some more news to talk about. This is the Sesko update. It's coming from Caught Offside, which isn't a brilliant outlet, which is why I've not kind of run it as the title, the main title, and the thumbnail, just because the source isn't very good. But according to Caught Offside, Arsenal have submitted an offer for Benjamin Sesko. The reported offer is estimated to be 55 million euros, although it is unlikely to be accepted due to the active release clause being 65 million euros. So, according to Caught Offside, Arsenal have bid for Sesko. The bid is 10 million euros below the release clause, and it is set to be rejected. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. The source is not the best one. I like the idea of Sesko, but those comparing him with Haaland need to stop. Haaland was much closer to a finished product at the same age and already had clinical finishing. I agree. He is, I'd say he's closer to Højlund than Haaland in that respect, in terms of how raw he is. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If he does come in, the comparisons will be there instantly, which won't be good for him, to be honest. And that's why I wouldn't start him straight away. I'd give him as much time as possible, really, to learn and understand the system. I have concerns with Sesko, as the anti-Arsenal media would make his bad spells be worse than what they are. Other teams don't get the hate our signings get, like Havertz, Raya, etc. Yeah, I agree. And again, that's why I wouldn't start him straight away. You almost want it to kind of settle down a bit. You almost want to get a few months into the season where it's kind of, you've seen Sesko off the bench a few times, but it's like the pressure isn't there for him as someone that's come in as a starter. When do you see Sesko getting minutes with Havertz starting? Throughout. I don't think I think we have to move away from the same starting 11 over and over and over again. I think they can rotate. I look at it and, we've got 8 Champions League group games that, in the league phase of the Champions League. We've got 8 of those. We've got Carabao Cup games. We've got, we will have FA Cup games. I think there is, there's going to be opportunity. We're probably going to play 60 games next season. If Havertz starts 40, Sesko starts 20. That's fine in that season. Oh, Devin has also renewed his membership for 2 months. Unbelievable support, Devin. Hey, Rory, what do you think about white chocolate macadamia cookies? I think they should be the standard. Chocolate chip is overrated. Very, very good question, Devin. Thank you for the 2 months of support. White chocolate macadamia, I'm a fan. If you're going down the route of white chocolate, I love a white chocolate and raspberry. In any sort of combination, whether you're talking about a cheesecake, a cookie, a cupcake, white chocolate and raspberry, sensational. Would I complain if white chocolate macadamia cookies became the standard? I don't think I would. And I would also say I prefer a bog standard chocolate chip cookie to like a chocolate cookie, like a double, triple chocolate cookie. Give me the standard one. That's what I'd say. That's my opinion. Always with the cheesecake, you've always got to go down the road. You've always got to pivot to cheesecake. Where possible, where the option is there, pivot to cheesecake. Always. Just finished watching the Beta Squad game. Did you catch it? I saw some of the highlights, yeah. I did see some of the highlights. I work at a fudge shop and we do raspberry fudge with white chocolate. Exactly. Even fudge. Wherever you go, there's always room for white chocolate and raspberry. Always room. Sesko has definitely grown on me. The more I do my homework on him, I'll understand the signing definitely and wouldn't mind it. Yeah, I think that's the boat that I'm in. I'd be happy with it. It wouldn't be my number one, but I could see it working. The Gyökeres train has not derailed. We are still at full steam ahead, and we will continue to be. Until Gyökeres is playing for another team, I will be full steam ahead on the Gyökeres train. But I'll admit, there aren't as many passengers as there were a month ago. I'll admit it, but we're still going. We are still going. 46 million bid for Sesko. Why are we bidding so low? I don't know. But I don't know that we have bid that, right? That's coming from court offside, so I'll take it with a pinch of salt. Gazzetta Italia. This is a bit more news coming from Gazzetta Italia again. Again, not the best source. It's kind of like, I don't know. What would you compare it to? Some it's not the Sun, but it's not great. Anyway, they're saying that Victor Osimhen is expecting to get an offer from Arsenal or Saudi Arabia. Osimhen dreams of playing in the Premier League, with a move to Saudi Arabia being a more likely temptation for Napoli than Osimhen himself. Napoli are and remain insistent on the €130 million release clause being paid. So Osimhen may well end up in Saudi Arabia. He himself wants a bid from Arsenal. I just don't see us bidding €130 million. I just don't. So we'll see. I missed yesterday's stream. What's the idea about Kivior to Milan? Milan were in for Kivior last January, and they will continue to be in for him this summer. He's one of their main transfer targets. I can't remember who was the source for that. The source for that was Santi Ayuna, who's actually not a brilliant source. So, but AC Milan were definitely in for him previously, and as I've said before, it wouldn't surprise me if we sold him this summer. Him or Tomiyasu. Who are your top 3 sources purely for Arsenal news? David Ornstein is number 1. Sammy Mockbell is number 2. So you've got David Ornstein works for The Athletic, Sammy Mockbell works for The Mail, and Team News and Ticks is the third one. So you've got 2 proper journalists in Ornstein and Sammy Mockbell, and then you've got Team News and Ticks, who I don't know where he gets his information from, but he's usually bang on and definitely is like deeply embedded in the club. So they would be the 3. They're the 3 that are kind of the absolute top tier for me. Have you seen that even Kai considers himself as a number 9 now? Yes. But not a number 9 in the traditional sense. So he said he is a 9 for Germany. He now is a 9 for Arsenal, but not a 9. Not a 9 in the traditional sense. Team News and Ticks, definitely better than Mockbell. I'm not so sure. Mockbell was arguably better than David Ornstein when it came to the Declan Rice transfer. Mockbell was flying last summer. Yet to see if he'll be flying this summer. But yeah, he was very good last summer. Team News and Ticks is just a different one. It's just a different type of source, I guess. The thing Arteta still needs to prove as a manager is his rotating, as he's not been that great with it, in my opinion. I agree. And look, after this summer, and this is where I do think it becomes important, after this summer, the squad will almost entirely be Mikel Arteta's squad. You know, we're not, even if we've got rid of someone like Emile Smith Rowe and decided to keep Fabio Vieira, that is, effectively that is Arteta selling a player that he inherited and keeping a player that he bought. Pretty much every player in the squad would be one of his signings, other than, a couple. I think Gabriel was just before him. Was Gabriel before him? Saliba, obviously, he technically inherited. But the reality is it's his squad. And if he still can't rotate when all of the players on the bench are his own signings, then I begin to get worried. That's when I begin to get worried. He bought Gabby. Yeah, when did we sign Gabby? Was that his first summer? I can't remember. How do these journalists get their inside information? Surely clubs try everything to keep their transfer targets secrets. They do and they don't. There's a lot of. It's all about relationship building. There's a lot of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So, of course, in some cases, the club don't want transfer targets getting leaked, right? The club don't want transfer information getting leaked. At other times, the club actively want journalists to put out news, right? So, for example, and you'll notice it, and if you've not noticed it before, now that I'm telling you, you'll notice it. When things don't go well for Arsenal, if we have especially towards the end of the season or in January time, December, if things don't go well for Arsenal in December, January time, or towards the end of the season, and we have a bad result, in the next couple of days, you'll see quite a lot of journalists suddenly come out with transfer talk. And that is the case of them kind of helping out the club, because the club don't want everyone to be talking about the bad result. They want people to be talking about the transfers. Oh, it's fine because we're going to sign this person. That happens a lot, not just at Arsenal, at every club. So they do have relationships within the club. Look, some of them can be with players. There are journalists who have relationships, especially Man United have a big issue with where journalists have relationships with English players and their families. So there's quite a few ways. It's very, very difficult for football clubs to keep journalists out of their business. But Fabrizio was definitely paid by Madrid to push the Mbappe news directly after the Champions League final. Probably. Maybe not paid, but given the information. I mean, the amount of money that Fabrizio will have made today from having that kind of exclusive, it's, yeah. There's a lot of that goes on. And what will also happen, right? And I've seen this happen before. Journalists will have good information, and then suddenly you realize they don't have the information anymore. And sometimes you can actually directly trace that either back to someone at the club leaving like someone on the board or a member of staff leaving the club, and suddenly a journalist that did used to get information doesn't have information anymore, or off the back of like a really bad article from a journalist or a scathing article, suddenly they don't, effectively they get burned, they get cut off. It's really interesting. I actually find that whole kind of industry quite interesting. But regarding Gyökeres links to Spurs, I doubt Spurs would ever drop 100 million on one player. Levy doesn't move like that. I hope you're right. But then they're talking about selling Richarlison. They're talking about selling Richarlison to Saudi. And I'm like, well, if they sell him, they're going to have to go and buy a striker. So who would it be? Arsenal should go for Kudus instead of Sesko. Maybe. Kudus would be a different signing for me. I think Kudus would be a different signing. You'd still need a Sesko-style signing, even if you got Kudus. Edu clearly leaked that he went to Poland to sign Mudryk, but instead went to get Kivior signed and pressured Chelsea to overpay for Mudryk. Yeah, I mean, there's so much of it that goes on. Fabrizio's definitely got some sort of relationship with Chelsea where he does their bidding for them. So much goes on. Osimhen release clause would definitely go down. I think we have a small chance of getting him. Maybe, but as it stands, apparently Victor Osimhen, Napoli are absolutely dead set on keeping Osimhen's release clause where it is and demanding it. Is Sesko the guy that turns down the Etihad result into a? Is Sesko the guy that turns the Etihad result into a win? Possibly. Sesko is awful. Well, he's not. He's 20 years old, and he is an exciting young player. Is he at the level to start for Arsenal right now? Maybe not, but he's not awful. Clearly not awful. This one, completely random, but maybe interesting. I mean, this is kind of along the lines of when Arsenal were tracking Isak's number plate in London, or when we were tracking Mudryk's gyms and which gym he was training at. Sesko's agency, so the agency that Benjamin Sesko is signed to, followed both Edu and Carlos Cuesta on Instagram this week. So make of that what you will. But Sesko's agency followed Edu and Carlos Cuesta. Look at his stats. He ain't even starting for Leipzig, you bum. Okay, mate. Okay. Why are you calling me a muppet? Why? We've built a good community here. I don't know who you are. You've got Northside London is a plastic as your name. But we'll pull up the stats. About Sesko not starting. Doesn't start every game. You're right. Doesn't start every game. But let's bring them up. This is a player that's just turned 21 years old. The last 7 games for Leipzig, he scored in all of them. Started and scored. Don't know if he started or came off the bench at halftime, but scored, started and scored. Would you like to retract your statement? Would you like to correct yourself? Would you like to apologize for calling me a muppet? Or would you like to just remove yourself from the stream? I don't know. If we miss out on Sesko this summer, he will be worth over 90 next. I don't think he will, because I think if we miss out on him, he'll go somewhere either way. So I think his release clause will get triggered by someone. I just don't know if it will be us. People have to consider that Arsenal will need players that are happy to be a rotation. Exactly. That's one of the avenues of going young, right? If you go young, you're going to get players that are still going to be willing to be a rotation player. You're not going to go out there and get like a 26-year-old prime player that's going to be... This is why when people talk about someone like Jarrod Bowen, I don't think that works for us. Because Jarrod Bowen looks at Arsenal, and unless he is very happy to spend his prime on the bench, then he looks at it and he goes, well, am I going to go to Arsenal and start ahead of Bukayo Saka? And if the answer to that is no, then it's very difficult to make that move. Which is why, if you go for a 21-year-old in Sesko, I think it's a lot easier. Arsenal departures: Cedric, Elneny, Tavares, Lokonga, Tierney, Zinchenko, Smith Rowe, and Nketiah, Nelson. Incomings would be great. Sesko, Osimhen, Bruno G, and Kudus. I mean, Sesko and Osimhen would be a bit overkill. But yeah, I think we can move all of those players on. I do think we can move all of those players on. I'd potentially even add Kivior or Tomiyasu to that list. You are a breath of fresh air for me as a new subscriber. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate that very much, Lucas. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. My biggest concern with Sesko is I'm not sure the Prem style fast pace would suit him. I could see him potentially having the same and like try and make sense of this, because obviously Erling Haaland's not had issues in the Premier League when it comes to scoring goals. But I could see Sesko having the same sort of issues in the sense that all of those games where Haaland struggles, I think Sesko would struggle in that sort of game. And that may be the sort of game where you do play Havertz instead. But yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Anyway, it's time for Guess Laguna. And today, we've got a new type of Guess Laguna. It's not a full career path Guess Laguna. But basically, we were running out of ex-Arsenal players or current Arsenal players to keep doing the old the 5 clues. So what we are doing is I'm going to give you an ex or current Arsenal player, every team that they have played for, right? Starting with the team that they've made the fewest amount of appearances for, working up to the team that they've made the most amount of appearances for. And I'll tell you how many appearances they made. So overall, I'll tell you every club they've played for and how many appearances they've made. And you have to guess who that player is in the chat. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we're starting now. So this player made 18 appearances for Inter Milan. That was the least amount of appearances they made. 18 appearances for Inter Milan. They made 47 appearances for Antalyaspor. They made 47 appearances for Antalyaspor. They made 60 appearances for Vissel Kobe. They made 60 appearances for Vissel Kobe. They made 75 appearances for Galatasaray. They made 75 appearances for Galatasaray. They made 82 appearances for Arsenal. 82 appearances for Arsenal. They made 88 appearances for Gornik Zabrze. They made 88 appearances for Gornik Zabrze. They made 106 appearances for Bayern Munich. They made 106 appearances for Bayern Munich. And they made 181 appearances for FC Cologne. 181 appearances for FC Cologne. There you go. There you go. Who got it first? Who got it first? Who did get it first? Someone's going to have to VAR check me as well. There were a lot of guesses. Let me know if you enjoyed that style. Let me know if you enjoyed that style. We need to switch it up again because we're running out of Arsenal players. So maybe we'll try doing that. And then we can go through players that we have already done. Who was first? It was Francisco Oliveira. It was Francisco Oliveira. Podolski was the correct answer. Congratulations, Francisco. Kazanex was second. Jakob was third. Amar was fourth. And Max Evans was fifth. So there you go. Congratulations to Francisco Oliveira. There you go. There you go. Well done. Well done. That was good. You love the new format? Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. And we've hit over 100 likes. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. I was first on my screen, a lot ahead of Francisco. Might be lag, though. I will double check. I'll double check for you. Where did Francisco say it? Where did Francisco say it? Let me scroll up. So, scrolling up from here. These are the... Oh, you did. You did. You did. You did. I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. We've got a VAR check. We've got a VAR check. Goal not given to Francisco Oliveira. Goal given to Ethan Udall. Ethan Udall has won it. The spelling was dubious, but you did definitely mean Podolski. Francisco, I am sorry. Ethan, I'm also sorry, but congratulations. Francisco was second. It's a howler. It's a howler. It's a howler. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Dermot Gallagher will be out in the morning. It's fine. It's Monday tomorrow. Dermot Gallagher will be out. Dermot Gallagher will be out in force. He'll be backing me up. He'll be backing me up. Release the audio. Release the audio. I was gutted when Podolski left. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, we'll move quickly on. We will move quickly on to guess the non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community, but not as much respect as Ethan Udall currently has. This player, who was the source? Samiti Cabernet? It must have been. This player started their career at Wolfsburg. They started their career at Wolfsburg. They went on loan to Charleroi. They went on loan to Charleroi. They then went to Charleroi permanently. They then went to Lille. They then went to Napoli. So Wolfsburg, Charleroi on loan, Charleroi permanently, Lille, Napoli. I don't think anyone's got it yet. Don't think anyone's got it. It wasn't Sturridge. It wasn't Sturridge. I rate the Sturridge guess. I do rate the Sturridge guess. KDB, I assume that's the Wolfsburg. The Wolfsburg clue has sent you down the KDB route. Dzeko, Hazard, that'll be the Lille route. And there we go. Mr. Robbo 19 TV gets it first. It was Victor Osimhen. Ross Lorman was second. Kazanex was third. Tom was fourth. And Ian Smith was fifth. So there you go. It was indeed Victor Osimhen. It was indeed Victor Osimhen. I rate the Sturridge. I rate the Sturridge guesses though. I rate it. I was first for the correct spelling award. Yeah, you've had a tough one, Francisco. You got second, robbed of first, and then correct spelling award as well. Mr. Robbo TV, I assume that is your first guess the non. VAR's telling me to check. Uh-oh. Why is VAR telling me to check? No, I'm sure I got it right. I'm sure I got it right. What am I checking for? I got it right. Look, that's it. That's the winning one. There's no one above that got it. Is there? I've been sent to the monitor. I've been sent to the monitor. Why? Why have I been sent to the monitor? Nah. I've checked it. Wait, what? Talent one. What am I doing? Am I blind? I'm legally blind. Am I blind? Talent said Tony Kroos. Am I? He said Royce. Oh God. I might have to hang up. I might have to hang up the boots. I might have to hang up the. I don't understand how I've missed it. Twice. I literally scrolled the whole way up twice. What's wrong with me? Talent, I apologize. You won. I've robbed Robbo. Robbo was ready to hang it on the fucking wall. Robbo was hanging it on the wall. I've robbed him of a golden moment. I've got to improve. There's no two ways about it. There's no two ways about it. It's just a disgrace. It's just a disgrace. Some are calling it corruption. Some are calling it corruption. At this point, you know, I'm doubting myself. I'm doubting myself. I really am. It's worse than Wenger's new offside law. It really is. Start doing Control F and do the first and do only the first 2 legs. Yeah, but the problem is if I do Control F, if I do like, if I do that, yeah, I mean, nah, because if I scroll up, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. If I scroll up on the chat, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, talent, but I'm sorry, Robbo. I'm handing in a transfer request. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You can probably unlike the video, Robbo. No, no one unlike the video. That would be heinous. Anyway, look, I apologize. Sport Cat being exposed and never appeared again. Curious. Yeah, true. That is true. That is true. It works on YouTube. Yeah, but I'm not doing it directly through YouTube. That's the problem. Anyway, look, that is going to be, yeah, congratulations to Wilsey, by the way. A proper VAR. Look, he sent me to the monitor. And he won. He won. I just lost 60 likes. It's over. It's over for me. Retirement is incoming. Lee Gunner, thoughts? Yeah, he's a person. Anyway, look, this is going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate all of you for joining, as always. If you could like and subscribe, despite that performance, I would be grateful. I'll be on Twitch, link in the description, at about 10:15. But other than that, I'll be back tomorrow evening, 6:30 on the YouTube channel, as always. I hope you have a great Monday. Mondays can be miserable, but I hope you have a great Monday, and I will catch you all either later tonight on Twitch or tomorrow. Goodbye.